It was very chaotic. Lived with my mum and my younger brother. Council estate. And we, my mum, she was a alcoholic. So yeah, it was tough. I remember being 4 years old and my mum dropped me off at my nan's house and she said to me, "I'm just going to go and get you some sweets." And I went, "Okay." And she left with my brother. And the days kind of turned into weeks, turned into months. And I remember going up to my nan's door and sitting there and just wanting my mum. And she didn't come back. She'd gone to Canada. And I think for me that was the first time I felt pain. Didn't understand it, but I knew it hurt. Kind of felt rejected. Why Chad? Why my brother and not me? She came back for me about a year later, and I was settled into a school, and a part of me didn't want to. But I did. My mum lied to my nan and said, "I'm just going to go and take Kelly to get her some sweets." I don't remember seeing my nan for a long time after that. I just remember being bundled into a black cab. I know my mum tried her best, but I don't think she noticed me. I didn't get hugs. I felt invisible, almost. My mum was in abusive, violent relationships with men that scared the life out of me. We were constantly moving. We lived all over London. One time my mum got so badly beaten on a bus on the way back from a day out with my brother and my mum's partner, and we were coming back from Notting Hill Carnival and we'd had a really good day. And then it all kind of, in a split second, it just went absolutely horrific. He battered my mum on that bus and no one helped. Her face was unrecognisable. I remember jumping on my mum. I was 7 years old, jumping on my mum and trying to get this big man off my mum to, not to hurt my mum. And I remember scratching him and then the bus driver kicked us off the bus. It was horrendous. So we just moved and I went to school after school. By the time I was 12, I'd been to 11 different primary schools. We were constantly moving, running away. And every time we moved to a different place, I would have a different dad, we'd even have a different dog. It was very just unstable, I guess. There was no stability. I didn't bother making friends because what was the point? They were going to get taken away from me, and I just found it hard. So, yeah. I think one of the most hardest times was when I was in Belfast. We'd moved to Belfast. My mum's Irish. We were trying to get away from my mum's partner. And so we were there for a year. my mum decided that she wanted to get back with this guy. So she left us with strangers, basically. The guy had come back. He said, I don't want these black things in my house. And we were put into care. And that's when I was sexually abused by a 14-year-old girl. I was so confused. I guess I was so lost in, I just wanted a cuddle. I guess I just wanted someone to love me. And it was wrong, you know, and I knew it felt wrong, like, afterwards. But there was something about the intention and someone talking to me and comforting me. And, you know, I was 9 years old. And I just wanted to be loved. My dad was in and out of our lives. He tried, but he was broken himself. So, yeah, by the time I guess I was 15, I became a Class A addict. And my life began to spiral out of control. I fell pregnant at 16. And then I began a life of running, meeting men, having babies, violence, drugs, running, meeting men. Just, it was like a constant roller coaster that I was on, you know, just trying to seek some love. You know, so 5 children later, I was just broken, absolute broken mess. Just kept on getting into toxic relationships because brokenness was seeking after brokenness, you know, and that was what I was attracting. And clearly there was something missing. Do you know, I couldn't even sleep in the dark because I was so scared that if I don't see any light, I was gone. That would be it. But there was a part of me that knew that there's got to be more to this kind of lifestyle that I was trapped in. And I just needed a way out. I need a way out. I don't know how to get out of it. And I truly believed that was it. I was going to die an addict. And do you know what? I didn't even care anymore because I was so cold. I was so lonely, so broken and messed up. And every decision I was making was wrong. And I couldn't do anything right. I wanted the love of my mom and I didn't get it. I just was completely and utterly at the end of myself, trying to seek things that just didn't satisfy. I was living in Cornwall, and I was in a really bad, violent relationship, and I needed a way out. So after my partner had beat me up pretty badly, I walked into the offices in Cornwall County Council, and I took my hood off and I said, "Are you going to help me now?" And the woman actually took out her card, took out the money for me to get to Watford, and I was on a train. I'd left everything. I had my 4 kids with me at the time, and 2 suitcases, and I was off to a women's refuge in Watford. The reason I went to Watford is because I had an aunt living there, and a nan, and my uncle at the time, he's passed away, but he was there too. So I had connection. So it wasn't as frightening. But because my son was 16, he couldn't come to the women's refuge. So my aunt, bless her, she said, well, look, I'll take him in. So ended up in Watford, doing really well, doing well for a while. And then drinking began. I met someone, and the drugs came, and then moved into a lovely home in Abbots Langley. So I was in there in 2015. I'd found out that my brother had gone missing, and that for me was my rock bottom. I lost it. I was losing my mind, leaving my son on doorsteps, running away, putting food in the oven and leaving the house, just doing these things that were so not okay, you know, like I can't. I was dying. That honestly, that is what I was doing. I was killing myself. I remember being in such a state. I had 2 kids in one school. I had one daughter in another school, and my little girl was in a nursery. And I was crying out. I was like, how am I going to get all these kids to school? No car, nothing. So I went up to Sienna's school because it was the furthest. Her school was a 45-minute walk. So I went up there and I just said, hey, you know, can I get a taxi? Is there any help? You know, because I'm struggling. So within about 2 weeks, a lady turned up at my house, and I was thinking, who's that? Is that like, do I owe her money? I'm thinking, you know, peeping through the curtains, thinking, I don't know who this woman is. But she had these bags of shopping, and I'm like, all right. So I opened the door, and she said, hello, I've come to drop you some shopping, and I'm thinking, do you know what? I can't even remember the conversation because I was so fixated on this food, because it wasn't like your standard food bank. There was meat, there was snacks for the kids, and I'm thinking I could really do with that right now. So anyway, she said, I'll see you in 2 weeks. And I went, yeah, all right, whatever. True to her word, 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks she came to the house with big smiles, which really irritated me. I didn't understand how someone could be so happy. Honestly, I was like, what? And she would drop off this shopping, she would drop it off. And I'm thinking to myself, what's going on, you know? So it turned out there's a church round the corner from the school that my Sienna was going to. So they must have communicated with her somehow and said, you know, there's a you know, woman struggling, and you know, and she came. And honestly, she helped carpet my house, you know, like she took us up to church. I thought she was just a singer in a band. Little did I know she was a pastor of a church, you know. So I'm going in there and they're feeding. Honestly, I didn't come for church. I didn't come for any of that. I came for the food. I did. I'll be honest. That's what I was going. I'm feeding my kids, right? And I didn't take any notice of it because I couldn't see it. You know, I was there for my reasons, not for anybody, you know, not to see anything. So came away from that. But I knew if I opened up to this woman, she would know. She would have an answer for me. You know, I've never asked for help for anyone. I've never asked for help for anything, you know. So something in me knew that she would know. So 2 years she kept coming. She kept coming after me. She was, you know. So finally, when I'd left my son on the doorstep, I was that broken. I was like, I need to tell her. I need to tell someone. So I told her, and then she said to me, have And the thing is, she didn't judge me. She didn't look at me in disgust or, she listened and she just smiled. And I'm thinking to myself, did she hear what I just said? Because I just couldn't believe the reaction, So then she said to me, have you heard of a place called Betel? And I went, no. And she said, it's a Christian charity. Well, that just flew over my head. It was when she said there's rules. And honestly, bing, 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 bing. It was, I need to go. Because I knew I needed that. I needed structure. I needed rules. I needed to learn how to do life. I needed to get some sort of stability. I was wild and out of control, and I was dying, and I love my kids, but it was with a selfish love. It wasn't, I needed to learn. I rang up. I rang up the Watford Betel, and they were like, yeah, so you have to be a man. I was like, okay. Won't be going to that one. Spoke to them and come into Betel on the 4th of January 2017. And I didn't want to. Myself was like, okay, quick fix, go in there, do a year, I'll be clean, maybe get back on it again. Because I was so, that routine was so like embedded in me. I would have been proud if I'd done a year clean. That would have been like, what? But I guess walking into Betel, I was frightened, but I knew it. I knew that this was going to keep me alive. Honestly, I knew that it was going to keep me alive, and almost like it was almost like I was given a second chance. And I remember walking out with my kids. And I left, as I shut the door of the past, the house, I let out this scream. Because I didn't want to leave him, but I knew that I had to, because I knew I needed to sort myself out. But it was one of the hardest things. It's one of the hardest things to do, to walk away from the only things that really love me. I wanted to be a good mum, I wanted to be good for them. I wanted to give them time and give them all the things that I never had, I'm not talking about money and, materialistic things. I was talking about me. I want to give them me. I didn't know them. I had absolutely no relationship with my kids at all. I always made sure they were at school. I always made sure that there was food in the cupboards. I always made sure, that we had a nice home. There was no, it wasn't like they were neglected in that sense, but what they were neglected from was having a mum, having me be there for, sports days and plays and, just being around, because I was so caught up in my own addiction. That's where my head was at, and my heart, the only real time that I was actually proper clean was my pregnancies, because I couldn't, even though I tried to, have a line of Coke or, drink a drink, it would make me feel physically sick, or smoke a fag. I couldn't do it. So I was clean, there were the times where I was clean and a little time after that. But then the reality of all of these kids and, you know, not having any kind of real kind of substance in life, it would just draw me back to, I need drugs. I need something because I can't function. You know, I can't. But there was so much that needed to be healed in me. Like I was carrying so much brokenness that I was using like almost coping mechanisms, the alcohol, the drugs, the men, you know, it didn't matter because it wasn't working. I started to become tired. It wasn't even an enjoyment thing. It was just a habit, a dirty habit that I was just caught up in. And I saw that when my brother disappeared in 2015, my life crumbled. Because honestly, my childhood, getting free, he's 2 years younger than me, but having him there was a glimmer of love, you know, with him. And even though he was my mum's favourite, he got all the cuddles and, you know, he got really, she loved him and I love that she loved him because it showed that she could love. I see that now. But I always wondered what was wrong with me. When Chad went missing, she rang me and she said, "Why couldn't it have been you? Why Chad?" And I couldn't talk to her again after that because it was killing me, and I'm drinking bottles of Bacardi and I'm trying to down my own pain of what's going on. And it was just, I couldn't live anymore. I just didn't have no more in me. Nadia drove us into Windmill House. And I remember seeing the field and thinking, this is all right. You know, it's a bit Cornish vibes. It's quite nice. It's not, you know, as daunting as I thought it was going to be. So all I could remember doing, actually, to be honest with you, is thinking, I need to smoke as many fags as I can before I get in this place because otherwise I won't be able to. But so I remember coming in and I remember getting greeted by one of the ladies, and the first thing she did was hug me, and it was so awkward. Because I was like, I'm not used to it. So just have this woman hug me, I was a bit like, okay, you can get off me now. So I felt a bit uncomfortable. And then she said to me, you know, the girl's house is round the corner. So I'm thinking, okay. So we get in the car, going around the corner, and there was about 17 girls. And I've never been in that environment before. Like I'm a bit of a tomboy, really. Like I've always kind of, you know, got on with the guys and, you know, climbed the trees and, you know, all that kind of stuff, but never really had female companionship. Like never really had it. So I was a bit freaked out about that. But I don't know, there was something warming. There was something in the chaos of what was going on in my mind. There was a peace that I can't explain. But I knew I had to stay here. I knew it. Like, it was like, I don't know, I'd gone from such a desperate state to almost, I could begin to breathe. Which is something that I was like completely thrown by. Because I was stepping into the unknown. But there was something a little bit exciting about it. But I honestly can't explain it. I'm trying my best. So I thought, okay, let's check this place out then, you know. So yeah, the girls were lovely, you know, so kind, so caring, Do you want a tea? Can I help you? And all this sort of stuff. And I found it a little bit strange at first because I was thinking, who wants to really help me? But it was genuine. It was you could tell in their faces, like it wasn't, they weren't gaining anything from it. And honestly, my whole life, I would use people and let people use me. And that was just the way it went. I never had no friendships, no proper, friends. So to kind of step into this almost family, it was like a family. And honestly, I started to like it. Like, I started to find somewhere that I fitted in almost. Like, there was like a belonging, and I had some tough days. I had some real tough days. I really had to, because it's not easy to step into a routine, but you kind of know you need to stay in it. And I miss my kids. And yeah, there was times where I was like, I don't want to do this, but I'm so glad I persevered. I'm so glad that I stayed, and I'm so grateful. MA and Kent, the pastors of this ministry, Betel, they're like a mum and dad, so it's something that I never experienced before, and it was just the love for me. I was like, oh, so I can be loved then, someone can, I'm not so damaged. I think for me, I carried that, you're damaged goods, never going to be good enough. It's not true. I was so paranoid, honestly. When I'd go into the church, they would, the pastors and the leaders, they would go out and into a prayer room and pray, but I thought they all had files on us, and they kind of was gaining all this information on us, so yeah. It was more, I was such in a paranoid state. I just thought it was like some conspiracy almost, something that I didn't mention was my mum had many different religions. So she was a Roman Catholic. So I remember her taking me and Chad to, only once a year on a Christmas, would go to Mass. And she'd take the wine and the bread, and she'd make us take it, and and then she'd completely, it's like it was just something to do. Then she became a Rastafarian. So then we all had to not eat pork, and I loved pork. But, it was like, and then she met another guy, and I'll never forget this one. I remember I was 12 and I was walking home from school, and this woman in black was walking towards me, and I'm thinking, she's getting a bit too close. This is a bit strange. And she walked straight up to me, and all I remember, my mum's got these beautiful green eyes, and all I could see was these green eyes. And I went, Mum? And she went, I'm not Sharon anymore, because she's Irish. She went, my new name is Amarni Khan. I'm a Muslim. I was like, what? So we all had to start saying Salam Alaikum. I would go to my bathroom. I would see chickens with their throats cut, bleeding in the bath, and it was a completely different. But then she was selling drugs to the kids, to people, it was like, your husband is a drug dealer, and So to me, religion or any kind was fake. So of course I'm going to have this, we're at a church, it's not real, da-da-da-da-da-da. Anyway, I remember being at a church service, and I was 8 days in, right? And this guy from America, he was over the top, right? Never seen anything like it. The church was packed. There was a vibe. It was a good vibe. There was happy faces, and just everyone was in good spirits. And it was like, yay. He said, does anyone want to give their life to Christ? Honestly, my arm shot up and I was like, no, it's not me. But there was something that just, it was like it wasn't me. And he said, right, all of those that put their hands up, come to the front. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay, my responsible goes, you're going to have to go. And I was like, I don't want to go. So we went up, there was about 50 of us. And he starts talking to people. And I'm thinking, he's not going to talk to me. He did. He looked straight into my eyes and he said to me, I'll never forget it. He said, Jesus has seen every heartbreak. He's been with you through every heartbreak, and he's going to turn all your sorrow into joy. I felt something in me and I cried. Not it was more of just tears just rolling down my face, and I just was like, wow. But I believed it. My heart believed it. So I went away, and there's something in me just kind of switched on. I wanted more. I was like, I want this joy. I want to be smiling all the time. It's not irritating me anymore. You know, I want this. I want. And I just remember praying, and never prayed before. And I remember praying and asking the Lord to reveal himself to me. I want to see you. I want to know you. And he did, and I remember waking up, and the first thing that came out of my mouth when I woke up was, Kelly's found Christ. And I did, I found him. And that was it. I was just filled with so much joy. And I wanted more, so I began to read my Bible, which kind of was like, felt like I was tried to, and it was like Spanish almost, like I couldn't understand it, but I was starting to understand. I started to see myself in these verses, and I feel something that was making me change. I wasn't thinking about drugs anymore, or sex, or, drink. All I wanted was to know more. Jesus, like, you're helping me. Like, he was helping me get through some days, and to know that he was there, because I shouldn't be here. I should not be alive. That is the truth. But to know him, for him to love me, for me, just like that encounter, that changed me, changed the way I looked at things. And I wanted to be a better person. I wanted to be the person that Jesus had created me to be. I just wanted change. I wanted to be a good mum, a good person. And I had it in me, like I didn't mean I see that. But I was just caught up in a lot of darkness. And everything that I'd read in his word, the Bible, I was like, almost like, wow, okay, this is real. And then that was it. I'd gone from sitting in church, fuming, like, oh, what am I doing here, to, yeah, oh my gosh, that there was, because it was just so, I honestly just felt like I was alive. Like, I can't even put it into words, but I was in a good place and I was determined to keep on going. Come on, Kel, you can do this. And then my kids would start coming up to Betel, and I was able to build relationship with them, and I loved them. And when they left, I would cry because, I wanted to be with them, and little things weren't irritating me anymore. And I just felt like I had radically transformed, because everything that I used to have I just didn't want it. I wanted this new life. I wanted, to know more of Jesus, to I don't know. I just felt I was saved. I was just, I was in a real good, happy place. I was happy. Yeah, really happy. Really cool. Like I said, like I would see joy on people. I'd see happy faces, and I kind of was like, I want to be happy. I want to smile. I want to, I want to know. I want to know who this Jesus is. I want to know how he's making everyone happy, because I could do with some of that. But but it was me. I cried out. Come on then, reveal yourself to me then, and he did. And then so many good things have happened to me in such a short amount of time. My kids, they all came to live with me in Betel. Like, where do you hear that? Like, Ken, M.A., Kim, Jason, Trish, our pastoral team, were 100% behind, me and the restoration with my children. No one knew what it looked like. It was really stepping into something that we were just like, I don't know how this is going to work, but it's going to happen. And it did. My kids have been here for 3 years, and they love it. They are, able to experience stuff that they never would have had the opportunity to. And I'm really thankful for Betel for them to come and really want to help, because now I really want to help. So I got married to a wonderful man, and we lived together with our children, and his stepson has come to live with us too. No, my stepson, his son. We can sort that out. Yeah. So we all lived together. Betel helped me do my driving. I never knew how to drive. I was put into a cafe where I was at a till. You couldn't trust me with a $5, never mind $1,000, I began to have a passion for baking, and I love it. And it really doesn't, for me, it's not about the money. It's not about that. It's about seeing people being radically transformed, seeing people like myself, absolutely broken, and on death's door to actually singing and laughing and being happy and content, because honestly, this is what this is all about, you know. And to be a part of that brings me so much happiness, and I love it. I love what we do here. With my auntie, for example, she'd got to a place where she was done. She's just, I can't, I wash my hands with you. Since being on this journey, for me, you know, finding, you know, Christ and my faith and how strong it is, and me being so clean, and because so many times like, yeah, I'm gonna get clean and and I never really did. So there was so much lies, and you know, I lied a lot. I'd tell you the sky was pink, and I'd make you believe it. Like, I was a sort of compulsive liar, and I would, you know, just completely, utterly. You couldn't trust me at all, honestly. But I remember my aunt saying to me one time, "If you weren't my niece, you wouldn't be my friend," and that cut me. And I was thinking, gosh, you're a bit of a selfish cow, aren't you? But honestly, it was, I remember it. I really remember it. And now, me and my auntie have the most beautiful friendship. You know, we ring each other. She can't believe the transformation in me. She's my friend, not only my aunt. Like, I have a friend. We pray together. She's come up to here. She's come to the church here, you know, and it's a wonderful thing. And there's a girl who I've known since primary school. We lost contact, but she knew, you know, she's been in and out of my life. She doesn't believe, but every time we talk on the phone, she'll say to me, "Am I talking to Kelly? Because you have just completely changed, haven't you?" And just talking to her and stuff like that, she's begun to pray. And this is, you know, she would call me a Bible basher. Like, she was like, "No, I don't want to hear about Jesus. No. To the point now where she's praying, you know, and there's a little something in her that seems to be, I don't know, interested. Like, she's asking questions. So yeah, I feel like people see it. It ain't about, you know, it's actions, you know. So for me, my actions are so different, and I don't even need to say anything, because they can see I'm not who I used to be. I think the main difference for me is that I have a purpose. Like, I have so many things to live for. You know, what I thought was impossible wasn't. And all I did was believe. All of the things that I thought was impossible has been made possible, because, as simple as it may sound, I chose to believe in Jesus, my Saviour. And I know, because He is the only true answer, because I tried everything. And I'm sorry, this Jesus must be real if He can get me out of an 18-year addiction. So it's not a religion. It's a personal, intimate relationship. And I'm grateful that Jesus died on the cross. And He didn't just die for me. He died for everyone, because He loves us. Betel is a place where you come to recover. Betel offers an opportunity for you to have a new direction, like, learn different kinds of, almost training, like working skills that, I guess some of us here never really had, to do life well, and not get so, I guess, caught up in the worldly sense of the pressures of work environment, and to be here to learn how to do that. Because you come into Betel and you come to get well, and you don't just get well, you come to stay well. And for me, that was a battle that I wanted to conquer. I fell in love with the place, I'm not gonna lie. I love it. I was like, I was one of those girls that loved community, loved being around people, and yeah, I kind of knew in my heart already that this was where I wanted to stay, and I was, hoping that they would have me and just see how it went. And then when my kids came, that was it. That was me. I'm like, okay, love church, and so many opportunities I have been given. I'm baking like cakes that are so delicious. And, the fact that we are, serving these cakes to people, and the love that gets put into the work that we do is so humbling. It's so humbling, because it's not for our own gratification. It's because we genuinely want to do it. Like, for me, I want to do it. The money side of things, yeah, money's nice, but there's no real satisfaction. But to actually come alongside and help, for me, I love being around the girls. I love seeing the girls come in and just spending time with them, because that's something that I love about Betel, is that there's hope. People genuinely want to spend time with you, want to get to know you, and it blows my mind, because I never thought anybody would want to get to know a messed up drug addict like me, but I've found real purpose here. And this ministry is something that me, my husband, and my kids are very, very happy to be a part of. And, me and my husband are even preaching. We've been given an opportunity to preach. And that blows my mind, because I'm like, me? Really? Me? Like, okay. And it's so overwhelming. But more than anything, I've never been so encouraged, and I think, I can't do this. Yes, you can, Kelly. I can't look after my kids. Yes, you can, Kelly. I can't preach. Yes, you can, Kelly. Like, I kept hearing, yes, 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 yes. And yeah, I feel stronger. I feel lighter. I feel so joyful, so content, so at peace. And what can I say? I love Betel. I love it.
Perfect.